everybody. Welcome to Tadaima, a Terrace House podcast, your weekly companion to your favorite show on Netflix. I am Robert Scarpadito, and I'm joined here by Daily Wilhelm.
Konbanwa.
Jack Cepeda.
Sota Snee, Irishimase.
And Gullet Sparling.
Japanese greeting.
Same. And today we're talking about episode 36 of Opening You Doors. Take Shelter from the Rain. It's a very dramatic name for an episode that isn't all that dramatic, I guess.
Emo.
Not at all. And I would just like, before we go down this episode, I'd just like to say that so if you guys have ever watched those clips that they post on the Terrace House YouTube channel, right, where it's like usually they don't have any subtitles, it's usually some sort of deleted scene. You know, it's really weird watching those videos without subtitles because it makes you focus on their faces a lot more when you're so used to just staring at the bottom of the screen and reading the subtitles, and you start to really notice the nuances in their facial expressions. And obviously you don't know what the hell they're saying, so you're just trying to gauge everything by the sort of emotion in their face,
body language, expressions,
and and the way that they shape what they're saying. So I don't know. It's just an interesting thing. I would definitely, if you're a fan enough of Terrace House and you don't care if you don't understand what they're saying, highly recommend it.
Holy shit, guys. How has College Humor not done a bad lip reading of this show yet? How is that not a thing with English?
Don't give them ideas.
Oh my gosh, that'd be hilarious. I would watch it. We should. That'd be hilarious. Do home,
I want
pick
to eat.
Soba.
All right. Are you guys ready to chow down on this beautiful episode?
Let's do it.
Itadakimasu.
So again, we start with a recap of the last episode with the panelists, and they all call Sota Sensei. Very aptly fitting for his kind of actions in the last episode, I think. And I just want to kind of provide a little background here. So they all talk about how Kaito looks like a cuter version of someone named Gajiro Sato, who is a very old but famous movie star in Japan. Fun fact.
There you go.
The more you know.
So the show properly begins with people in the kitchen. We got Yui, Shun, Aya, and Sota in the kitchen. Sota just comes in and he complains about his commute time, which, by the way, is like 2.5 hours.
What, did he work in Tokyo? I forgot.
I think so. Yeah, he was in Shibuya, so he was in Tokyo.
Yeah.
Even the bullet train is like 2.5 hours. Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah.
Well, wait a minute, because doesn't Maya also work in Tokyo?
Seemed like, yeah.
So are they both
nuts.
taking that long ass commute? He must live on the other side of Tokyo. I don't know, because I don't think is Maya's commute. They didn't talk about how Maya's commute was like super long or anything like that.
But Maya was
he
working
definitely
in
talked
Shibuya.
about it, though.
She definitely was working in Shibuya, so I don't know. They just didn't bring that much attention to it. I don't know. It just didn't occur to me while watching the episode.
Maybe she's just not the type of person. Maybe she's just not the type of person to complain about shit that she can't control.
Yeah, tell him, Jack. Tell him. Fucking snap on him.
Bobblehead. What? I don't know.
But yes, it's I couldn't imagine a 2.5 hour commute every single day. That'd be obnoxious.
Yeah, that's a bit much.
My commute to school is already close to an hour. So
I think an hour is all I can stomach. Seriously.
That's 5 hours of your day just sitting on a train.
I'm sure he's working on his laptop. He's probably getting shit done. I mean, I guess I could get emails done and shit like that.
yeah, I mean, I'm surprised they didn't offer for him to work remotely while he was staying at the house.
Yeah.
It's not the expectation.
I guess not.
Either that or maybe it's one of those work remotely 4 days a week, come in for one day, maybe.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. The expectation Oh, go ahead.
I don't think that he's there every day, every week. Whereas Maya, when classes start, she will have days or classes 5 days a week.
That's going to be rough.
That is rough.
Sota ends up leaving to go take a bath or something. And that's when Aya comes out and is like, I thought he was cute, but the whole you want me to be your driver thing really turned me off.
And I love everyone's first impression of that story when they weren't there to see it. They're like, oh, he was probably just joking. Even if he was joking, it just wasn't evident. Really.
Yeah, it definitely didn't hit her the right way if he was joking.
Yeah. So the guy is just, like I said, he just needs to lighten up. He just needs to take things a little less serious, man. It's weird. It's like he was designed by an app or something.
Well, yeah, I mean, I was certainly completely turned off by the end of this episode, but we'll talk about that when we get to it.
And also during this moment, Yui reveals that, yeah, she thinks Kaito is, I think, endearing is the word she used. Whereas Aya doesn't really know what to say to Kaito. Which I think that's a first for Aya, because Aya's usually like the talkative, happy-go-lucky, like, I'm always here to converse kind of person.
Yeah, I feel like this really proved that, like, when she said before that she liked older men, like, that's it. That's, like, the only kind of men that she likes, because she really views Kaito as, like, you know, around her age, younger than her. And so that's why she was instantly drawn to Sota and, like, didn't even consider Kaito.
Yeah, I mean, that could be it. Because, I mean, like, it just seemed apparent that she didn't even know how to talk to someone younger than her or at her age.
Yeah, and that's really interesting because, I mean, it's a difference in personality for sure, but, like, Aya had no problem talking to Taka, right? And they're both similar in that they do extreme sports. I think the difference is, in fact, in their age, right? But she's definitely no stranger to guys who do extreme sports.
Yeah,
I guess is what I'm saying.
And the last thing they touch on in this scene is Yui says, "Lately, I'm making an effort not to read off a questionnaire."
Oh my gosh! Yes, please. Sage advice. Sage advice. I mean, bravo. Slow clap.
Like,
in a way, though,
she's catching on, which is good.
Yeah. In a way that we rely on Yui as the audience to be kind of the investigator and instigator of things to find out, because, like, otherwise we wouldn't have ever known about Sota's son. Like, if she hadn't initiated a conversation with him and been like, maybe I'll ask you about this, because he doesn't seem to think that it's heavy enough a subject to be like, hey guys, just thought you should know.
I mean, since you brought it up, I think we should talk about that. Like, he just brings it up all casual, and then he, like, you know, as Yamachan and everyone on the panel was saying, like, he just acts like they're the weird ones because they're weirded out by that shit so nonchalant. Like, what the fuck?
Yeah, he just kind of throws on the table. He's just like, yeah, so, like, I was talking to, you know, Yui about how I got divorced and, like, how I actually have a kid. And
Shun is like, huh?
Oh,
everyone's like
stunned.
He's like back. He's like, what? Nani? Back the fuck
it's like
up.
He said, you know, I did time for murder. You know, but that was like 15 years ago.
He used that phrase again too. He was like, "Oh, when I was your age," like pointing at Shinsuke. Like,
yeah, and then Aya's just like, what?
Yeah, I mean, it comes up later, right, during Maya's birthday party, and I love how when things are dying down, Yui's like, man, what were you doing when you were 20? And I joked like, oh, he's probably gonna bring up the kid again. He's like, well, when I was 20, I was turning in my marriage certificate, and I was like, oh fuck, he's bringing up the kid again.
Dude.
I was like, you know, I think it was to this, you know, to the day 4 years ago.
Yeah.
Dude, well, I mean, Yui just like fucking softballs him that question, right? Like, just like pitches it to him.
It's like that's his identity on the show.
Well,
right?
Yes,
That's
it is
what
becoming
I'm
it.
afraid
It is.
It's gonna become is that like he's just like the divorced guy who doesn't speak to his kid or his ex, which is like not what you want to be necessarily known for. I don't think
It's kind of already that though. It kind of already is his identity.
Yeah.
I mean,
him
his
to be
whole
more,
identity
though.
this episode was when I was your age. And also, like, there's that small scene where he was in Shibuya, like, working with his coworkers. And the older employee asks, oh, hey, so, like, how are things going in the house? Anyone you're interested in? And all he says is, look, when I start dating someone, I'll let you know. So it's kind of like, is he looking for someone? And if so, why is your opening tactic, when I was your age, I had a baby?
Seriously.
It's age and experience.
it's just
supposed to be very attractive, apparently. No.
Sensei indeed.
This is such an outlier approach to a casting choice in this show. I feel like, you know what I mean. And I'm not saying it's a bad thing. I think that it definitely adds like an interesting dynamic, and I, as a viewer, find it very entertaining to watch how he interacts with the other housemates. But at the same time, damn, like. Just putting a dude like this with this sort of identity in the house is just like, it's just so unexpected for me still. And
I will say, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say. So I was scouring the subreddit, and somebody alluded to in one of the threads that apparently there's someone like that in the original season, Boys and Girls Next Door. Apparently, but Yosan, I think. But like, yeah,
Wild.
Not 100% on that. Haven't like Googled any further. But that was just according to a comment that I read on Reddit.
You're just throwing that shit out there, huh? Just to the
100%
wind.
verified.
It floats. Yep.
100%
So-
can confirm. It's
All
the
I was
truth.
gonna say is that I'm glad. I mean, yeah, he is weird, no doubt, and he's got a lot of things to learn about socializing his damn self as a grown ass man. But I would take this over just yet your other, cookie cutter fucking model.
100%.
Yeah.
I'm
And
sick of that already.
I don't think that he's necessarily the way he is because he had a kid at a very young age and got divorced. I think it's more, especially watching him at his workplace, I feel like that's been a big factor as to like how he behaves now, because everyone there was like 40 or near 40 and he seemed to be like kind of the youngest guy there. And if you're hanging out with people that aren't your age and are acting very mature, you're going to mirror that. And I feel like that's why he hasn't quite gelled with everyone in the house, even though he's nearer to their age, but he's just not used to being like with people that age.
Yeah, and the fact that he came in there, right, with the idea in his head that he's there to perform an observational study on the housemates, right? I think he definitely sees himself outside of this group, right?
Seems like
Not like, I don't know if I wouldn't say like imposter syndrome or something like that, right? But he definitely sees himself as just like he's not in the in group. That's a good way to put it. He's in the out group.
self-imposed.
Yeah. So he's basically the control. Yeah.
I just had a wild thought. What if the study he's actually performing is how do some 20-something-year-olds react to someone just nonchalantly dropping that they're divorced and have a kid?
Holy
What if everything? Yeah. What if everything is just a lie and it's just an experiment?
Yeah, I mean, that's what I'm thinking. Maybe there is no 5-year-old out there.
The producers have lost their fucking minds.
So it's like, guys, Terrace House is supposed to be authentic. That's why we like it so much.
Yeah,
Are the producers of Terrace House pulling a fucking Kojima where they're just like this? Oh, this is a simulation.
Every season from now on, there's going to be one plant per season.
There's
my
Sota
God.
and then liquid Sota.
Dude,
Whoa.
I will say that would be fucking crazy. That would be the biggest twist I've ever witnessed in any reality show. If that were the case. That would be
Soda
insane.
and Shadow Soda, the hedgehog.
So I do want to bring up, since we're just going all off on Sota here. So everyone seems to be turned off to the fact that, oh, hi, I'm Sota. I'm divorced and have a kid. What's up? How you doing? Except for Shunsuke. Shunsuke is like,
he's about it.
Man, I love it. That's good.
Yeah, he's like, I'm all
Yeah,
fucking in, dude.
what
Like, he
kind
puts
of-
all of his chips up front for that bet there.
Yo, I'm sorry, but what kind of fucked up personality does it take to like be attracted to that as a result?
But-
That's
but-
strange.
He did say that he kind of admired him for it, for being like, was it because he's like upfront about it, or because like he's had experience and come out on the other side? It seemed to be that's
sure.
what he was kind of implying, that's why he still found him attractive despite like just throwing out there, oh, by the way, I'm divorced and I have a kid.
I think it's just
Right.
odd that makes him more attractive, I guess. Like really, like that's preferred now, like divorced with kid. Like that's a plus. That's all I'm saying. Like who thinks of that as a plus? He has lived some life and he wants to learn from him, I guess. That's why they call him Sensei.
Shunsuke, I mean, he did put out there that like he views it as there's something that he could learn from Sota.
Sure.
That's the way he put it. So I guess I kind of understand that, and it could also partially be that Shunsuke could have a bit of a savior complex. Question mark. I don't know. But like, yeah, I mean, I understand though. Like, it takes a certain kind of person to deal with that sort of hardship. I mean, Sota could easily be a mess because of that sort of thing. You never know.
He might still be,
Socially,
we don't know.
certainly.
Yeah, he seems-
socially,
yeah.
certainly. So I don't know. We'll see where things go between Sota and Shunsuke. I think they could take an interesting turn depending on what happens. So,
And I guess to maybe put the shoe on the other foot, I don't know if that's the phrase, to look at things from Soda's perspective, maybe, and I'm just playing, I guess, devil's advocate here, maybe he's at this point now where this is a detail that's been a major pillar of his life for the past 5 years. Well, maybe like 3 years, right? Like, oh, I'm divorced and I have a kid, but I never see the kid, right? So maybe at this point, the reason he drops the bomb so nonchalantly is because he's so, like, it's just the thing everyone goes to anyway when they're talking about him. So it's like, hi, I'm Sota. Yeah, I know I was divorced, have a kid, whatever, but, you know.
Yeah, it's one of those things that it's like materialized so much in his head and it's talked about so much around him that to him it is part of his identity and that he just can throw it out there and he just wants to get it out of the way, right?
I'm just saying, dude, it was brought up very awkwardly, and then his reaction
I 100%
to people's
agree.
reactions was awkward. Even
the way
more
he
so.
brought it up was very awkward. I'm just saying, in his own head, that's not how it works for him.
He might not know how to like have a conversation. I feel,
dude,
like.
For all we know, he doesn't know how to properly cope, dude. And maybe he's just been maybe he's just been taking that shit and like stuffing it deep down inside of. You know what I mean? I could totally see that. You know,
just scoot that Catholic guilt over, put this right there. Yep, that won't come back in a few years. No worries.
Yeah, just like shove it all down and just put up a wall and just try to throw away the freaking key.
Yeah, I'm really curious to see what he's going to act like maybe 3-4 episodes from now. Like if he watches the show, right, and he sees himself on TV in like 3 weeks and sees that, oh, I'm the guy who just says I have a kid and divorce. Oh man, that's not great. Maybe I should blossom.
That's the entirety of him and Shun's date. They're just like, oh, so this like, tell me about yourself, and it's like, well, I'm divorced and I have a kid. What's your favorite color? Probably the color that I last saw my son wearing. Like, it just keeps circling back. But I am really curious about how that goes, especially because there's a lot of different layers to this future Soba date. There's kind of the expectation that on Shun's end that it is a date, or at least figuring out if he wants it to be a date, and then like actually finding out if there's anything more to Sota.
Yeah, and what I'm hoping happens is that I hope whether it's Shun or someone else, I hope someone plays therapist and just cracks him wide open. I want to know, like, this is gonna sound like really nosy, but I want to know how he feels about it, like how he's feeling, how he's dealt with it, like how he feels now about it. You know what I mean? Because he's very much kind of stone-faced of the fact that like this very emotionally traumatic thing happened to him.
And he hasn't really said that like it's necessarily like traumatic. He's just kind of said that at the time when he was like in his early 20s was difficult, and obviously because they got a divorce and now he's not seeing the kid. But he hasn't really said like, oh, and I get really bummed when I think about that, or like it's really hard for me.
And that's what I'm looking for. I want to see how he feels about it.
Guys, can I invoke r/unpopular opinions?
No.
Do it.
My own unpopular opinion.
Is that the card you're playing right now? Are you going to put that in defense mode?
No. Listen, guys, 8 out of 10 is the probability of times when he opens his mouth to when he mentions something stupid or just doesn't communicate correctly. He's starting to become one note to me already, and I'm only in the second episode with him in it, and I'm starting to become bored by him, but intrigued more by the way people react to him.
Your inner Yama is coming out there.
But I'm just like, dude, like, can you talk about anything else? I guess it's the most interesting thing about him, and that's kind of sad. So I just hope next episode. Listen, dude, if it's next episode about this shit, I'm just gonna be like, I'm done with him.
That's fair. There's much more now that we have new people in the house to look forward to, other than Sota's dark past.
Seriously.
Yeah, so I think let's maybe stop talking about Sota and let's talk about when I was your age, I had a child and got divorced.
Yes.
So let's move over to Kaito and Maya, who go on a very impromptu soba date. Like they're just sitting around the kitchen and Kaito's like, I'm hungry. You hungry? Yeah, let's go have food. And they're there eating soba at a restaurant called Sansui. And it's kind of an interesting conversation because at first it's Maya kind of like, oh, so what do you think about Yui? Like, I notice you watch her a lot, right?
Oh yeah.
Through the windows. No.
I woke up. It was like 3 a.m. You were like out the window on the roof. It was kind of. I noticed you're looking right at Yui's. Strange.
And he says, "Yeah, I've never met someone like her. She's got a pale skin. She's got a very feminine way of talking. She's like a marshmallow. I want to squeeze her cheeks."
She's like a marshmallow.
Her cheeks are like marshmallows.
He just wants to poke him. I think he was saying he wants to tap
basically.
him.
Which is a very Guy Sato thing to say.
Oh yeah.
Tap this.
But so here's the interesting thing, right? When I watched that, I felt like this is Maya trying to gauge his interest in Yui because of Maya's interest in Kaito.
Yeah, well, like the commentator said, right? She's watching him watching Yui a lot. And so she's noticing him and paying attention to what he's doing. And then, of course, like Smoking Gun, she basically laid it out there because he's like, yeah, I notice her. And she says something like to the effect of, well, please notice me too.
Yeah, please notice me, senpai. And then also, like after he makes the marshmallow joke, she's like, oh, you're so cute, Kaito. And it's like, huh, I think she likes him.
I'm definitely getting that vibe.
Yeah. Especially later on, and when Maya is in the kitchen, right? And I think it was Kaito and Yui, right?
Yeah.
And Maya's just like really oddly questioning about like what they're gonna do because they were talking about that skateboarding date when they were planning that out, and Maya's just like, oh, so what are you guys doing? Like, they're like, oh, we're going skateboarding tomorrow. Do you want to come? She's like, wait, no, I'll be busy tomorrow. They're like, wait, what are you doing tomorrow? They're like, nah, I mean, I'm not going to be home. But she's like, yeah, but like, you guys are going to skate. Like, she was just really, really nosy about it.
Right.
And she was wishing that she could go, but at the I don't know, it was really weird.
Yeah, and when Kaito said, yeah, it's just gonna be the two of us, and she was kind of like, and he said, oh, but you can come too, and it just to me that was very much like a dead giveaway, like, oh yeah, you're into,
and she even asked like, oh, how long have you guys been hanging out? And then like, oh, so no one's gonna be home tomorrow except for you two.
Yes, exactly.
She is keeping tabs.
Oh yeah, she's into him. And if you remember during the scene where you get to see Maya working part-time, right? The guys that her coworkers are kind of like, oh yeah, you usually end up dating whoever you spend the most time with.
Yeah, they call her shit out.
Right, so I think she's trying to finagle her way into spending more time with Kaito.
Yeah, that was interesting. So she's obviously been there long enough for her coworkers to see her go through quite a few relationships, or at least a small handful. You know, so they know what she's like when she's getting to like someone.
It would seem, yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting because everyone kind of unanimously said, including herself, that she doesn't have a type. It's just whoever she starts spending time with, and I wonder if that's just from like an initial like, oh, I have to choose someone, and Sota's not that great personality wise, and I'm thinking that Shunsuke's gonna lean more one way than the other, therefore she's kind of left with Kaito. So when that's been taken by Yui, I'm getting heavy Mayu flashbacks with Maya.
Right, and it's weird. Does Yui just have a thing against people with M-A-Y names?
Yes, she does, specifically.
It would seem so. The evidence would suggest.
Rip.
I don't know, man. But it also can't be understated that like it was like we already talked about it a little bit, but it was actually cool seeing Maya and Sota at work. We don't actually get to. I feel like we haven't seen that too often lately in Terrace House, where we get to see shots of people doing what they do at work and stuff like that. I mean, because it's where they spend a lot of their time, so it's nice to have those scenes in there.
Especially because, like, I don't understand Maya's work because it was, like, retail, but also, like, a kitchen. Food.
Yeah, they talked about it. The hosts talked about it, yeah.
Did she make the rice balls, too?
Weird. I mean,
he's... That show, dude, it kind of went off the rails there. He's like, I don't know what's happening. Like, they're making rice balls, they're selling clothes. It's like full breakdown.
Yeah, let's actually get into the reason why he breaks down, right? Because it's set up in the scene in the girls' room where all the girls are there talking, and Yui kind of has this existential crisis of maybe I'm not fit for the bridal industry. I watched myself on TV. I saw what people were posting on social media. Everyone was saying very negative things about me. Maybe I'm not fit for the job, to the point where she turned down 3 separate offers.
Dude, that's crazy. And that's a whole subject all into and unto itself.
Yeah,
I mean,
this part
she made
was wild.
life decisions, career choices based on negative feedback on social media. I mean, that's one of the biggest decisions anyone makes in their life, is where they're going to work. You spend a third of your life there doing that,
especially in Japan, where the expectation is when you join a company, you're sticking there. It's not like in America, where you might stay for a couple years and then move on. That becomes part of your identity, is where you work.
Right.
Exactly. And it's kind of like you're employed for life in a lot of ways for those career type jobs. I mean, not if you're like, working at Starbucks or something, but
yeah, it was a huge thing. Like the show, it just has like this whole new layer on it now because of that scene. In my opinion, it's just like, I didn't know. I know we talked about it. I can't remember. It might have been our predictions episodes, but last time she was watching herself on camera, that I was just like, we talked about it affecting her in the future. Other people seeing her behavior, but I didn't know it was going to happen this quick. And it was all because, it was mostly because of herself. Yeah, she was like, I saw how I acted, and I'm just like, I'm not worthy of being a part of these people's company, because now I have this bad personal reputation, and the only thing I can do now is start from scratch.
I think that this is just a good lesson, not just for her, but also for people in the audience too, to like say, hey, like, your comments have consequences far beyond probably anything you ever intended, I mean, Twitter is essentially a platform that enables people that are quick to anger, quick to, react, quick to share their negative feelings, much more so than their positive feelings, it would seem. And it just affects people. So it works both ways, But then again, as the panelists said, Tokui and you and Yama, they were basically saying, it's her responsibility. She has to take responsibility. She knew she was on a show. She agreed to be taped, and so they can't put anything out there if she doesn't give it to him too. So, kind of lessons all around, more, about social media, about what it is to be a public figure, about how comments have consequences, that on social media. They're not just words on a screen. They're much more than that.
Yeah, I think it's a twofold issue here, right? Of like, one, try not to be a dick on social media. Like,
Please.
It's pretty easy to,
in
like,
general,
not be an asshole. But two, on the receiving end, I think Yama illustrated it very well, where he was like, so you could be reading a comment and it could say like shine, right? Just die. But it could be typed out by someone who's like cooking, and then with the other hand, they're like kind of nonchalantly looking at their phone, and they just like quickly type, oh yeah, just die, whatever. Like, so it's coming from a place that probably doesn't mean it as much, but because you're reading it purely as text, you might take it a lot more seriously than maybe the writer wanted to make it,
Right. And I think I love the way that Maya came in here too, because they were having that talk in the girls' room, and Yui was she was upset, she was crying, like, that all this happened, and it was clear that all this is really getting to her, and Maya's like, well, like, you can't let that stuff affect you. Yeah, I had a bad idea of who you were, just watching the show before I came into the house, but now that I know you as a person, like, you do stuff for us all the time, you're super kind, you're passionate, you're a hard worker. Like, we know this is what you're passionate about, so there's no reason why you shouldn't go after the bridal industry, And so, like, it's interesting that we get that sort of insight from other members in the house, because it's definitely true that a good focal point of the last couple parts of the show have been basically Yui being very, how should I say?
Reflective?
Well, salty. Salty too, like, with the whole Mayu conflict, really. You know what I mean? Her being just really, there's a better word for it. Petty. There you go. And so now that she's mindful of it, I think that we're going to see an interesting change in her character arc.
Yeah. It's just a shame that, like, that's the power social media has. It puts a number to your success in a way, or like your social success, right? And go ahead.
It's interesting because so far we've seen a lot of significant successes because of in people's personal lives because of Terrace House, because of the social media attention that it's gotten, like with Shohei's band and with Taka's brand that he had. Like, I can imagine that, you know, that being featured on Terrace House, you know, is a great boost. It's, you know, free marketing to a huge platform. But simultaneously, if you behave badly on that, that's going to follow you forever. And even if you're not behaving badly, people are still going to interpret things however they see fit.
Right. And we also have to remember too is that this isn't Western culture we're talking about. Japanese culture is a little bit more conservative, and they're going to take stuff like this a little bit more seriously when it comes to the workplace. You know what I'm saying? Like, they don't want a bad image associated with their brand, a lot of these Japanese companies.
True.
You know what I mean? Even if, you know, they consider the fact that she's a minor reality show celebrity now and bringing that clout to their company.
You even take that deep bow.
Yeah, I think a good way to close the social media discussion is this is something that's been prevalent in the show for a while. Sam Byford, who writes for The Verge, he actually interviewed the original 6 members of Opening New Doors, and I actually read that article like earlier today. And in it, he talks to Ami, who talks about that moment where she had a date with Yudai. I hope you guys remember that wonderful burger bagel.
The burger bagel. It's a burger. That's a bagel.
And in it, Ami says, like, in the interview, like, I thought I was being considerate, or at least the most considerate I could be. But to other people, exactly, right, is that it wasn't seen that way. Mm-hmm. So it's just like there's always a disconnect between the message you want to put out and maybe the message other people might receive.
Yeah, actions speak louder than words, turns out. Mm-hmm. And intentions.
Same. So let's see. Let's bring this back to... I don't know. We've been jumping around a lot, so I've kind of gotten a little bit lost.
We haven't talked about the skate date yet.
Skato dato?
Let's bring it down a little bit, I think, with the skate date. I thought the skate date was fantastic. It was beautiful. Yui and Kaito really connected.
It wasn't a date, though.
It wasn't a date, but it was a date.
It was
evolved.
Mom taking her son to go skate.
Why did it feel that way, though?
Right?
It did.
Especially...
She brought out the camera and she's taping him. Yeah.
She did his laundry earlier. Or later, one or the other.
Yeah.
But still.
I forgot about that. Yeah, with Aya leaving her bra and panties laying around.
Yeah, he's like, I didn't want to touch it.
Right. And I mean, actually, throughout these whole scenes, right? So, like, Yui did his laundry, or at least put it in the washer. And there in my notes, I wrote, what a mom. And then the morning of the skate date, Kaito was like, yeah, we'll go. Let me just, like, finish washing these dishes. And then Yui's, like, very insistent, like, oh, let me help you. I was like, man, what a mom. And then
she sits down, she goes back, she sits down again, she goes back and finally is like, no, give it to me.
Yeah, I will help you. Like, I'm forcing you to let me help you. Like, it's such a mom thing to do. And now with the skate date, the way she's acting is like, oh yeah, I'll drive you anywhere. Let me take a picture of you doing this. Oh, isn't that cute? Like,
he thanked her son powers for keeping the rain at bay for a little while, but it didn't last forever. And they ended up in a really cool scene where they were hiding underneath the ramp, essentially. And they were talking, and slow clap, everybody, for friggin' Yui. She did not break out the list and ask him a bunch of questions. It didn't happen. She's learning. She's growing as a person, and I applaud her for that.
Yeah, it just took Aya telling her to seriously stop.
Like, yeah, she's like, it's gotta stop that. Like, seriously,
you need to stop.
Yeah,
man, that's what I mean.
Guaranteed turn-off rate.
Yeah. And so, so the love is still in the air. Apparently, it isn't extinguished. I think it is growing. He admitted that, didn't he?
What, that his interest in her is
Maya?
growing?
Yeah, that he sees her. He can see her romantically. Didn't he say that at the table?
Yeah, he did. And I don't know. This skate date kind of solidified with me. Like, I don't find their quote unquote relationship interesting to watch. It's kind of boring. But if they're happy, then good for them.
You think Yui and Kaito are boring?
A little bit.
I don't know. I don't think they're boring yet. I actually like them. They're the best thing to watch right now.
Yeah, I'm with Jack, and I think that the cool thing about them too is I think since Kaito is more on like the guy end of the personality spectrum, like I think they're gonna be. He's gonna be more open to going on dates like Konyaku Park and stuff like, you know what I'm saying?
I love Konyaku Park.
They
go again.
They seem like they can have fun together.
Yes.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. They don't really care. They'll go wherever the hell they please.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They're not worried about trying to look adult or something like that.
Yeah.
No.
I trust Kaito with my daughter Yui more than I did with Noah, because he's just feels genuine. He doesn't feel like he's going to, you know, be inconsiderate of her feelings just because like it's convenient for him to be like, oh well, I guess it's been fun going out, but I don't really feel that way about her. The way that he's been really forthright and that he can be like, he does think that he could be romantically attracted to her. I trust that.
You know why I like and trust Kaito? Because he don't give a damn and looks right in the camera all the time. Eye contact for days. Yeah, it's really funny. I'm not used to that. It's endearing though. As Yui said, he has some endearing qualities, and that's one of them.
I just like the overall air he brings to the house. It's just very light, like not a care in the world sort of thing.
Refreshing.
I think he is unemployed, isn't he?
He's really a skater. He's a pro skater.
I know, but he's not paying the bills, as he said.
Yeah. I mean, he said he like works occasionally with his dad, I think, like in a shop. Yeah. I think we've pretty much covered almost everything in the episode. This one, Daily, what do you got?
I just want to call out, so Yama was on a roll for this episode in being like, he acknowledged his part in the public perception of Yui and how that kind of was born from his riffing on her, but also his infatuation with Maya is really funny to me. But it did get brought up, and I wanted to kind of have this be like a cultural note. So during when he got like all flustered talking about like, oh wait, does she make like the onigiri herself? And it was like he wanted to like eat the onigiri that she had made by hand. It got brought up like, what are you doing? This isn't like JK business. So that, I didn't know what that was initially, and I looked it up, and thank goodness it's not, because JK stands for Joshi Kosei, which is essentially like
high school girls, right?
Yeah. Paid dates with high school girls. Usually older men are paying for dates with high school girls.
Yikes.
I thought it was like joking, like JK, but like joking business or something.
Nope.
Cool, ready. Thanks for that, Pearl.
Now you know. The more you
know.
And the more you know.
All right. We also forgot, if it's worth bringing up, Maya was basically being super nosy after Kaito and Yui went on their skate date, quote unquote. It's like she was asking Kaito like about all the details. How does it make you feel about Yui? Do you feel strongly about her? And then she was also asking Shun, and it brought the same conversation about her date with Sota. And I think that's when he does bring up the whole thing with him and his divorce and the kid, right? And how it doesn't really bother him all that much. In fact, it makes him like him more.
Yeah. That's where Shun says, it makes it more attractive. But that's also where he reveals that after the Soba date, he wants to do other stuff.
That's right.
Other stuff.
And he's making plans, and he's making, he's got grand designs for the evening.
He's planning shit. You know what I mean?
He's got options too.
He wants to take a bath with Sota.
Yeah.
I mean, clearly, yeah.
Yeah, that was outright said. And again, I don't know if that's like just like the cultural thing, or like, because he said it like, I should probably do that. And it's like, who's under what obligation?
Yeah, peer pressure. Yeah, he's seeing pressure. Like, clearly we need to bathe together before we get soba.
Yeah, it's one of those odd things where it's like, it's just kind of interesting, because if he were straight, I'd be like, oh yeah, that makes sense. Like, just like two guys bathing together to get to know each other. Like, that's a Japanese thing. But knowing that he's bi, or at least bi-curious, it's kind of like, oh, is there more under the hood that you're trying to reach for?
Nice expression.
Reach for.
Can we hold on? Can we just back up a little bit? I do want to talk a little bit about Maya's birthday, because the decorations were on fleek. They look good. That was a fun looking party.
They throw good parties at Terrace.
Yes, and they had a lot of alcohol, of course, a la Terrace House. And there was one particular thing that pissed me off a lot.
Oh.
During that party. And it's when Sota gets there. He's the last one, and they had a couple slices of pizza that they ate. They're waiting for him. That's not what made me mad that he was there, though. But he essentially, if you remember, he gives her champagne, and he goes, "This is for the guys." Nice. Good. Everything's good. And then he says, "I thought it'd be just lame if we just got you champagne. I got you flowers."
Yeah.
You freaking dick. I was like, what
shade.
a dick move. I was like, if I was one of the other guys there, I'd be like, motherfucker.
You piece of shit.
Yeah, you just fucking undercut the whole,
wow. And then the girls it was supposed to be the girls get her a gift and the guys get her gift. And he goes and gets her an extra thing without discussing with anyone. Like again, that was just like another reason why I'm not sure about that man.
Yeah, what? He's at strike 2 now. What? Strike 2?
I mean,
I don't know.
Was
like
that?
strike 5.
Do you guys think that's a nice thing he did for her, or do you think it's a slight or do you think he just totally overlooked how that might come across?
I think it was a nice thing he did for her, a shitty thing he did for the other boys.
But do you think he meant to do it on purpose, like as a shitty thing, or to just elevate himself, or like what's the rationale? What's the rationale?
I don't think that. I would like to think that it's not a slight. I would like to think that he just misread the situation.
Man.
And it definitely can be read as a slight.
And I think
I'd been pissed.
that if Shinsuke and Kaito got offended too, they're totally within their rights to be like, hey, that kind of, we made an agreement and that kind of undercuts our contribution, especially because he's the one that like went and picked it up, the champagne.
Yeah, but part of me is also thinking, I mean, Daly made the point earlier that he hangs out with 40-year-olds, and by the time you hit 40, you kind of don't give a fuck what other people think of you. So maybe since, like, lest I remind you, when he was your age, he was married and had a kid.
Yeah.
And so he's kind of already most of the way there to mentally being a 40-year-old. So maybe he's just at that point where he's like, I don't give a shit what you think. I just got you another thing. Here you go. Fuck it. Take it.
That's if that's the case, and this is pure conjecture here, then I just hate him already. That's what his attitude is.
You hear that?
Well,
Jack hates 40-year-olds.
I hate guys that do that crap. That's just lame. I don't care who you are. I don't care how old you are. It sucks.
Yeah.
So I got triggered there. I don't know about you guys.
I hear you. And good watching out, too, because I didn't even think of it.
Yeah. I think that's about everything for this episode. It ends with a really kind of ominous shot of Sota in the bath, kind of just like looking not like a little past the camera, and then just like it ends. And I'm like,
If it was Kaito, it'd be looking directly into the camera.
that's true. And he would have had a goofy ass smile.
See, the next episode is going to be right back on that shot, and you're going to hear the door creak, and then Shinsuke is going to creep in there.
Shinsuke's gonna walk in, he disrobes, gets in.
Exactly.
Like,
Taylor
this
Swift
is a
will be
nice
playing.
bath. And Sato says, when I was your age.
That's it. All right. That's a show, guys.
That's the show. Thank you so much for listening to episode 10 of Tadaima. Jack, you want to hit him up with that contest?
Guys, it's still happening. It's still a thing. Tell your friends, tell your girlfriends, tell your wives, tell your husbands.
Tell your strange son.
Yeah, we are trying to promote.
Hide your kids, hide your wife.
We're trying to promote this daggone podcast thing we got going on. And so to enter the contest, it will be worth it. It's going to be an awesome prize. Again, just follow us on Instagram at TadaimaGram. Follow us on Twitter at TadaimaPod. And leave us a review on your podcast platform of choice, preferably iTunes, but anywhere. We would love a review. And you will be entered into the contest automatically by doing all three of those things. And then we will announce the winner in a few weeks. And good luck to you. And tell your friends about Tadaima, Terrace House Podcast. Thank you.
Get hype. If you have any questions or concerns, you can email us at questions@terracehousepodcast.com. If there's anything you want us to read live, please let us know. Shoot us an email. We'd love to read any of your feedback. And I just want to take this moment for those of you who celebrate Christmas. Hope you enjoy the morning after today. Hope it's full of wonderful love and stockings and Yuletide, right, guys? I don't know.
That's the thing, yeah.
Yeah,
Merry Christmas, motherfuckers. That's what he's trying to say.
basically.
Oh, don't forget about that Yule log in your fireplace. Don't set your house on fire, please. Thanks.
Or do what you want.
No,
I mean,
don't do that. Full of great advice to end the show.
Our next episode is going to be on December 26th. We're going to talk about the next episode of Terrace House Part 5, Opening Your Doors. Get excited, get hyped, because we are. This
Get
has
your
been...
KFC. Oh, I'm sorry. Stepped on your line.
You want to go to KFC? Go to.
Yeah, I was going to say, yeah, that's what you do in Japan. Don't you know? You
Santa
go to
Sanders.
KFC.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
KFC back orders are, I mean, get your orders. I mean, if you're trying to get KFC now, too late. KFC is sold out in Japan. So better luck next year. That's all. Sorry, go ahead.
We need to talk about Santa Sanders one day.
Yes.
Such a great thing.
Satan Sanders.
Yep. This
guy.
has been Tadaima. Thanks for listening. Itekimasu.
You can email us at questions@terracehousepodcast.com, follow us on Instagram at Tadaimagram, on Twitter at TadaimaPod, and check us out on Facebook and YouTube at Tadaima, a Terrace House podcast.